After the last video, I ended up losing all my save files, so I was forced to replay the past 3 levels again using only women. I couldn't exactly replicate my lost save file, so Mikaya's stats are now different, but overall she's much better. With that out of the way, let's start with chapter 1-3, where we are introduced to yet another woman, Ileana. Ileana is a mage with decent damage and durability. She has a magic growth of 50%, which is low compared to other mages. But she makes up for this by being a Thunder Mage, the strongest mage type. Thunder tomes have the highest damage out of all elements, and it packs a high crit rate. Ileana will be a massive help in part 1, as she's finally our second source of damage. This means we can, for the first time in this run, defeat an enemy in one turn. The objective of chapter 1-3 is to reach the escape tile in the south with Mikaya. That shouldn't be too hard, but the bigger issue is ensuring that none of the pacifist men die in the process. Going right looks like the easiest path with the fewest enemies. I should also note that most of the enemies aren't stationary, and since the map is small, I can't stop the men from being attacked. All I can guarantee is that I won't fight back. These two NPCs, otherwise known as yellow units, will be used to block paths and bait enemies throughout this entire chapter. Thanks to Ileana's HP pool, she can tank the fighter's attack, and make short work of him. One of the yellow units gets knocked out immediately, which opens a path where Nolan gets attacked from. Thereafter, a massive reinforcement wave enters at the end of turn 1. Among the enemy reinforcements is a recruitable character named Aaron, but since he is a man, I will instead siphon him for XP. The reinforcements will take a turn or two to reach us, so for now, let me explain my strategy. Attack with Ileana, kill with Mikaya, and heal with Laura. When my third turn begins, I realize I have my work cut out for me, considering most of my team dies in an instant. Mikaya one-shots the armored unit, with the Fanny Tome's triple effectiveness. I then start the process of slowly chipping away at the enemies. Aaron is the only ranged enemy, but he doesn't attack Laura, so I'm not really worried. I'm then hit with another reinforcement wave right behind me. I never planned these chapters out ahead of time, so every reinforcement is a mini jump scare. These reinforcements were at least easy to deal with. After eliminating the archer, I just boxed in the Myrmidon, since he was extremely weak. By the next turn he's dealt with. On the 9th turn I finally addressed the elephant in the room, and proved why Aaron is a useless unit. Thinking back on this, keeping him alive would have been the smarter move. If he's kept alive, he eventually gives you a sleep staff, but I just don't like him. All active threats have finally been killed, and now I can finally make my way to the right and press on. But this chapter is far from over, as there are still 17 enemies on the map. Most of them are stationary though, so I'm not worried. 2 enemies give chase, and I split them apart using the good old divide and conquer strategy. Alas, even more damn reinforcements show up with Ileana on the verge of death. Mikaya finishes the first soldier, and Laura heals Ileana. I then use Ileana to block off the path and fight off the other soldiers, since she can only be attacked from one side. Both soldiers get knocked out in the same turn due to Mikaya and Ileana's synergy. This process gets repeated for the next 2 soldiers with no problems. By turn 17, it looks like all reinforcements have stopped, so I can now continue on without worrying about surprise ambushes. Behind the door awaits 2 archers and a Myrmidon, and by looking at the first archer's stats, I can see that he has enough power to kill Mikaya in one attack. So Ileana has to be the one to open the door and take the first few hits. The smell of blood has the Myrmidon fired up, so I have to play defensively and lure them deeper into my territory. Once the archer is dealt with, I shift my attention to the Myrmidon, but he gets scared, rightfully so, and runs away. I chase after the Myrmidon with Ileana, being wary of the second archer, but she sadly misses. The Myrmidon slips away and heals to full, while the archer spots an open tile and gives Ileana a beating. At least the biggest threat is now taken care of. I let the Myrmidon initiate combat, so I can kill him the next turn. Micaiah almost gets one shot, but as long as she can't get attacked twice, she's safe. I reached turn 25, and so far this level has gone smoothly with 0 game overs. This level is also pretty much over, since the AI refuses to attack with more than one enemy. For some reason a soldier from far away decides to charge at me, so I just fall back and kill him. Then finally on turn 30, Micaiah fights the boss of chapter 1-3, Burton. He has a stealable scroll named Discipline, but our thief is a man, so that's not happening. Thanks again to the Fanny Tome's triple effectiveness against cavalry and armor, Micaiah wins again. The other enemies refuse to acknowledge the death of their leader, and just continue standing around while I hurry to the end. Micaiah snipes the second last defender, blocking the escape tile. Just one more enemy and the level is finally over. The archer attacks from free range, so he takes a massive penalty to his accuracy and misses. All the enemies charge towards me, attacking me from both sides, with Micaiah right in the front line. I'm forced to retreat again and take up a defensive position next to the bush to slow down the enemy movement. As for the north, I move the men downwards and hope they don't die. The onslaught reaches my main army, and Ileana initiates the combat. While deciding on Ileana's move, I notice that there is a gap next to her where enemies can attack from, so I move her there to prevent that. Thereafter, Ileana takes out the archer, and Micaiah attacks the soldier. I then shove the yellow unit forward, so that he acts as a wall and protects the men from combat. The armored units advance, while the injured soldier retreats. The Myrmidon closes in on Micaiah and Ileana by slipping past Sophay and attacking him from behind. But he is dealt with in one turn. The armored units finally arrive in front of Sophay, but the Fanny Tome takes care of them. If I fall back too much, I risk Laura dying, so I don't go beyond the door with Micaiah and Ileana. Both the armored unit and the soldier walk past Sophay, and have to be careful so that nobody dies. Micaiah lands a hit, but tragedy strikes. I'm gonna be honest, I was not in the mood for another 40 turns of this level, and I made heavy use of Sophay shoving. But rest assured that this is the last tutorial level, and after this chapter I will finally have more freedom for my own strategies. Micaiah obliterates another armored unit, and they team up on the last threat on the map, destroying all chances of getting a game over. Ileana accurately demonstrates my rage, then she gets a very nice level up. And I clear this chapter in 41 turns. I do leave that one soldier and yellow unit fighting for the rest of time, but they'll figure it out eventually. With 0 game overs, I defeat one of the least fun chapters in Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. This was a shorter video than last time, but painful nonetheless. See you next time. Bye.